already on YouTube. Just signing in, letting Zoom speak to YouTube. Already on YouTube. There we go, and we are live. And hello, everybody. Welcome to Spiritual Sundays with me, Mike Warwick.
And Mason, me, hello.
See how we did that?
Mason.
That was quite smooth, wasn't it? It was a bit like the news.
Yeah. I guess we're getting like the news, but yeah, that's okay. That's okay.
And we will be joined by Dr. Jeremy. He'll be here in a minute. He's going to be popping along. And if you've just tuning in for the first time, then you'll know that we're on live streaming on YouTube, and we do that every Sunday, and we do that at 6 p.m. Greenwich Mean Time, which is in Canada. What time is it now, Mason?
Yeah, it's like, well, where Jeremy is, it'll be in BC time. It's like 10 a.m. For
Yeah.
me. I'm in Ontario right now. It's about 1 p.m. Just
So it's
just about
later for
1
you.
p.m.
And
Yeah.
as if by magic, here is Jeremy.
Mhm.
And today
Nice.
we'll use a format. So we'll start with a welcoming, grounding meditation that one of us will lead. And what we'll do is that just to create a space where it's okay to have an open mind. I heard something today. How was it yesterday that I really loved? I was listening to Rupert Sheldrake. Jeremy, there you are. I was listening to Rupert Sheldrake give a talk about a not for profit that he runs, which opens up pilgrimage spaces and takes people on pilgrimages, and they have a saying BYOB, which quite often on a party invite, when you get that, it's like bring your own booze, right? Or bring your own bottle. But they use it in terms of bring your own beliefs,
Oh,
which I really
cool.
liked because I feel that, one of the things that personally I feel very, very good about with Spiritual Sundays is bring your own beliefs. And we would really value people's belief systems from all around the world. But this is a spiritual gathering, and it bring your own beliefs. And today we're going to be talking about something very dear to Jeremy's heart, I know, and very dear to Mason's heart. We're going to be talking about dreams. That was my intro.
Yeah,
How was that?
Oh, yeah,
it's
this
lovely.
is smooth. This is calming. Smooth. Yeah, cool. I like it. Thanks, Mike.
Smooth.
But
Yeah.
but yeah, I know it means a lot to Jeremy. I know Jeremy is like we have really good conversations on this topic. Dreams are like interesting to me. I'd say it's a bit on my heart for sure, but it's like this interesting study, trying to figure out what it is, what they are. So anyone that has anything to say about dreams, like I find interesting. But Jeremy, like what do you think?
Oh, dreams are marvelous. Yeah, I mean, it's amazing that we can, um, how much the subconscious fills in our dreams. And it's also amazing how we can do so many things in our dreamscape. You know, I don't know, some people they have dreams that are um, maybe foggy or dreams that are clear. And depending on what brainwave we're accessing while we're dreaming, which is normally REM, rapid eye movement, and that's basically the way that dreams settle. It takes time for somebody to experience dreams. I mean, some people they dream naturally, some people don't dream naturally, but most people do dream. And I'm just wondering for you guys, do you have vivid dreams or not really?
mean, well, I do. I tend to find more than anything, I feel like a lot of my dreams are um, anxiety things working themselves out while I sleep. I find that generally there's always a puzzle that's going on in a dream for me. It's been that way for quite some time. I used to have quite adventure when I was keeping. I don't keep a dream journal now, but when I did, my goodness me, after about 2 or 3 weeks of keeping a daily dream journal, I found it hard to. It was difficult to tell the difference between the memories I'd made when I was awake, moving around in my body in this kind of reality, and the ones that I'd been dreaming at night, because they became so detailed and so vivid and so lifelike.
How about you, Mason? Do you have vivid dreams?
Yeah, yeah, I have vivid dreams. Uh, like I go long periods of time where I don't dream at all. But then sometimes, just and I know I try to always keep track of the external circumstances, like where am I sleeping? Sometimes it's temperature. Did I watch a movie or do something? Like what's influencing my dreams? And sometimes I have, yeah, like vivid dreams. Sometimes they're sometimes they're not nightmares, but they're like startling dreams. So it'll be like a really really packed dream that makes sense or doesn't make sense. And then I'll wake up from that. You know, I've had nightmares like in my life. Sometimes I've had really fun dreams I don't want to wake up from. And yeah, I've tried experimenting with different types of dreams and dream journaling. Uh, but I didn't really get too far with too many of those experiments much, you know. But yeah, I
Yeah.
don't know.
Well, yeah, it's interesting how we have such a variety of things that we can experience when we dream. There's this in Buddhism. There's quite an interesting set of exercises that bring about conscious dreaming. And so, why do we want to be conscious in our dreams? Sometimes that's because there's so much that that we can explore in dreams that is a safe place to explore things. Carl Jung, uh, psychologist from ages ago, he had done a lot of research into dreams as well. And it's really interesting how dreams have influenced so much of our world. And maybe we're aware of it, maybe we're not aware of it. But it's our subconscious way de of organizing information in different ways. They actually did an experiment with rats where they put electrodes on their brain, and so they found that in this experiment, so they had rats during the day go through. They had electrodes on the rats' brains during the day, and so during the day, they were given a bunch of different things to do. So like a maze. There was a puzzle where they had to line up two circles. If they could push the circles to line them up, then they could get through and get the cheese. And so they went when they went to sleep. They actually watched their brain waves, and what they found was that the brain at one point goes through their day in reverse. And so basically, this group of rats, they found that what they experienced throughout the day, also they experienced a bit in the dream state. And so that's also where, what you say to yourself or what you do first thing when you wake up can make a difference before we go into the deep REM, the deep sleep, because there's what in this experimental group with rats, they played classical music at the beginning, and they could tell the brain waves where, classical music has a different effect on our brain. And so what they found was that the rats, when they were going through their revision of the day, that the very last thing that they went through before going into delta, the deep sleep, the deep regenerative sleep is delta, that they found that the rats all played classical music in their brain before going into that deep sleep. So what we say to ourselves when we wake up in the morning, what we do first thing in the morning, will be the last thing that goes through our mind before we go into the deep delta sleep.
So a really great practice would be to say, I love you when you wake up, and I love you before you go to sleep. And you can say that to yourself.
Yeah.
Because it's interesting you mentioned Carl Jung, because I'd seen a quote from him comes up quite a lot about, it's one stage of our journey towards wholeness to love another being. And then the really hard thing is to love ourselves. He said it's like a hot coal that you sort of have to pull into you, and it's kind of painful to love yourself. So that would be really nice, just to wake up and say, I love you, with all our faults and all of our foibles and kind of failings and messiness. And the last thing at night, I love you too. So then that would get replayed as you're falling asleep. And
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. And so that's where when people were turning on the television and watching Trump, first thing when they wake up, they might turn on the TV and watch the news. Well, then they're getting the news into their subconscious right away. So basically, as we go into deep sleep, as we go before we enter that delta sleep, we'll be playing the news.
Which is not the best
So
thing to do. No, not
yeah,
great.
imagine waking, bringing Trump into your deep sleep.
Well, I mean, I
So,
guess
which
if,
some
if
people might like that.
yes, I mean, yeah, um, who, no, not for us to judge. Um, Even saying that's a bit judgmental, to be honest. So, but you said something earlier, Jeremy, about conscious sleep or conscious, no, sorry, you said conscious dreaming. So I wonder if it might be worth talking about that for a little bit and just like making, because not everybody's going to know exactly what that is. I'm not 100% certain myself. And also maybe it would be nice
Yeah.
for us to maybe go into a little bit of a meditative state as we sort of go deeper into the material today.
Okay. Well, for being conscious in our dream, and that's basically just means, where our conscious awareness is right now, we're basically in beta generally. We might be in a little bit towards alpha if we're just kind of hazing out. But beta is a very quick, very fast brainwave state. And so when we're dreaming, some of our consciousness, our conscious awareness, is bridging into the subconscious. And also, supposedly, have you ever had those dreams that are maybe like prophetic? So if you've ever had a dream that's like very strong, uh, basically it's one of those dreams that usually it's a dark sleep, and then and then the dream arrives, and then in the dream arrives, there's a message or there's something in there that happens that leaves you feeling very impacted by it. And so sometimes there's a way of where there's something called the superconsciousness. So we've got consciousness, subconscious, and then superconscious. And so when we're becoming aware of our dreams, whether we're aware of them or not, as we start to become more conscious of our dreams, then we're able to build in, let's say, resources. So dreaming consciously is a way where we can connect what we're seeing with our mind. And
But
so how do I put it, explain it properly? um, Conscious dreaming is where we're awake to a certain degree and aware of our mind.
Yeah.
And so we can be awake in the subconscious, or we can be awake in the superconsciousness. And so a lot of the prophetic dreams come from when our superconsciousness is connecting with our conscious mind. So imagine it's like there's a space inside where we've got our conscious thoughts and normal going on, and then when we go into sleep, we bump up against our subconscious mind, and then over time, eventually, there might be points where our super consciousness can speak with us. So it's sort of like having a discussion with our higher self, even though it's not really a discussion. It
Okay. So,
plays out in different ways, right? Like a movie or theater.
so I'm getting the image of like almost levels. Like you've got sort of waking sleep, subconscious, and then to me, superconscious feels like it's higher, but maybe it's a deeper sleep. I don't know.
It's both.
Higher and deeper. Ooh,
Yeah,
of
higher and
course it
deeper.
is. Higher and deeper would go together, wouldn't they?
Yeah,
Mhm.
Oh, wow. Okay. Yeah. Oh,
Yeah,
right.
yeah,
Ooh, that is a lot of
that's
energy.
quantum physics stuff. It sounds
yeah,
like. But if you're talking about
yeah,
connecting, yeah, the yourself to the higher self, or your these different levels of like map making. If you're trying to make sense of your dreams and you're trying to like take inventory of what you see in your conscious life, and you take inventory of what you see in your dreaming subconscious life, and then if you have these prophetic dreams or a spiritual experience, and you take inventory of that conscious experience, and then if we're like overlapping all three of those layers, like seeing where the congruencies are, like I think that is like insight to the universe, to reality, to spiritual stuff we're talking about. I think that's like a way of seeing it. And when you're talking, Mike, about like even connects to the first point we were talking about, like having that conversation with ourselves in the morning so that it replays to us at night before we go to sleep. It's like when guys were saying that, what I was picturing was like our higher self, like our super conscious, like speaking down, like even just to our body, like even if that conversation were like convincing our body, because it's like our subconscious is like I'm picturing this really like brain like mechanical neurons firing, very physical experience when we're talking about our subconscious, right? And so I feel like if we're programming that, it's like we're putting a CD in the CD player. We're like telling our body, like, I love you. That tells all our cells, that tells our nervous system. And like that trust gets established first. And then from there, we like, yeah, now we're getting comfortable talking like subconscious, conscious, like super conscious if we have those experiences. I feel it all connecting. It's just interesting. I never thought about the super conscious either. and like some of the stuff that I study, some of the counseling or coaching literature, they talk a lot about the conscious and the subconscious, but I have not studied so much on this, like the super conscious, I suppose.
Well, how would you guys feel? Just anybody feel like just taking us into that super conscious state? Can we do that through a group meditation, or can we sort of aim towards that? Because maybe we can have an experience together, and then we can talk about what the super conscious is, because that's something that I'm familiar with, but I don't feel like I'm really got really understand it myself either. I know you do, Jeremy. You've done a lot of work around that, haven't you?
Yeah.
I think
Which
it's
is
good
my,
to aim for it, like you said. Like even when you're saying that, I was even thinking, like, could we even just like try? Even looking in that direction is probably.
I don't know. Can we do that, Jeremy? Do you want to try? I feel like you'd be the person to lead that. I don't know.
Yeah. Let's go for it. Okay. So make yourself comfortable, whether sitting down or laying, and keeping your eyes open or your eyes closed, however you feel is appropriate. And take a big breath. Really feeling your breath expanding your lungs and your back and softening on the way out. And so dreams are so many different types of dreams. And so today, let's set our awareness and our intention to speak with our superconsciousness, to speak with our higher selves. So in whatever way you feel, set an intention to connect with your higher consciousness or your superconsciousness. And taking a moment to feel your feet, to feel your legs, your arms, the middle of your body. And take a big breath, filling your belly and your chest, letting it all go. And in your mind's eye, imagine that your superconsciousness is up on a hill. And it can look any way that you want it to. And so, in your mind's eye, stepping towards your superconsciousness, stepping towards your higher self. And when you're there, just take a moment just to create an internal dialogue, speaking with your higher consciousness. If there's something you want to say to your higher self, what would you want to say? And what does your higher self want to say to you? And taking a moment again to breathe, filling your body with air, letting it go. And very gently giving a message to your higher self of your desire to contact it in the dream world. And what does it say to you? And when you're ready, going back down from the path where you were sitting with your higher consciousness and coming back down to the body, filling yourself with breath again, and feeling your body and the room that you're in, and coming back to this moment here with us. And before you close the door, send another message to your superconsciousness of your intention to connect with it. And then close the door if you want to. Or if you want to, you can leave that door open. Maybe there's not even a door. Maybe your higher self is here with you all the time. And come back to the room. Come back to be aware. And open your eyes when you're ready to return. And breathing, filling your body with air, and your presence everywhere. And so that's one way that we can access our higher consciousness. It's very simple. It's very easy. It's just a matter of doing it. Just saying whatever we want to the subconscious, to the superconsciousness, to our higher self.
It's very nice thinking, well, not thinking, experiencing the higher self or super consciousness or the astral body. I mean, I'm throwing these terms around, and I'm sure people who've got a really encyclopedic knowledge of these things would, they might not be very happy with the way I'm sort of mixing all those terms. But there's just that feeling of where you're just right place, right time, comfortable in your body. Even if you're not comfortable in your body, you're comfortable in the moment. And the more that here's an interesting thing. There's a British scientist called Rupert Sheldrake who have started to engage with his material quite late. Obviously, he's been publishing things for decades now. So and he has this thing called morphic fields. That's what he's best known for. And basically, what that's saying is the more people do what we just did now, get together and meditate or do it on your own, the more people do it, the easier it gets for everyone to do it because we're connected.
Yeah.
And I love that idea that spiritual people, whether you're meditating by yourself at home or if you're meditating or praying in a group or contemplating in a group, sometimes you can feel like that's a waste of time, especially, let's not ignore the global situation. There's a lot of difficult things going on. But actually, by meditating, by connecting your higher self or your higher, your superconscious, you're making it easier for everybody else to do that as well.
Yeah. Yeah, it's true. Because intention ends up changing the energy, and then that changes the energy as a to other people that are in your life, even at the store, at the corner store, or the off license. Yeah.
I was quite into that. I was quite into that meditation you did, Jeremy. Like, yeah, I could see how sitting with that for longer would be super great. Um, and I got a bit cerebral like at the beginning. I was like trying to, it started off great, but I pictured when we started and you're like connecting with your higher self. I pictured like myself like with a bow and arrow, like taking a bow and arrow made of light or something, and then like filling the arrow with love, and then just going ting, and then like launching it like up, and then like a higher self catches it or something. Like I don't know why I pictured that, but it was cool. I was like, oh, like maybe that could be the beginning, like to that practice. If I ever tried that again, that could be what the intention looks like. Because sometimes I'm in a mood, right, where that fun kind of imagination like helps you get to the feeling. It helps you get to the calming the mind. It helps you. And so I kind of like wrote that down and then connecting. And then after I wrote it down, I was like, okay, cool. Like get out of the mind and breathe into it. And I kind of started that way. I don't know. And then I just committed to what you're saying. I don't know. For some reason, I just got into the moment when you were guiding it that way. So I just found it. I had this smile on my face. So it was cool today.
Yeah. Well, the subconscious and the superconsciousness, it's it's amazing because it is already in us. It's already here, and so, um, but how our mind can create images and structures to help us get there, to help us make that connection. That's really beautiful.
Plus, Arjuna was um, um, Krishna's disciple. He was a master bowman.
Whose disciple was he, Mike? Was that you said?
Well, the way we have Christ in the. So if you're a Christian, you'll have Christ as your master, as your teacher,
Hmm.
and then if you're Hindu, you'll have Krishna. So Christ and Krishna, they're very similar words if you think about it.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
And one of the great texts of the Hindu faith is the Bhagavad Gita, which is
Yeah.
a conversation between Krishna and Arjuna. So Arjuna, his greatest disciple, on the eve of a battle. And the battles, well, I've better be careful interpreting the Bhagavad Gita. Jeremy, you're not going to have to help me out here. But it's kind of, but my understanding of it, it's symbolic of the battle that's going on inside each one of us. Battle's a metaphor. Maybe not everybody's comfortable with, but the idea that we've got these habits and we've got these tendencies in us that where we tend to be very desireful, which we keep coming out of the present moment. We might be fearful of other people. We could be greedy. We can be lazy. We're messy. That's what it means to be human. And so the Arjuna is learning how to how to be victorious over his kind of lower tendencies, and then attach more to generosity and compassion and even-mindedness, and being able to tell what's real and what's illusionary, and being courageous in entering into that.
Yeah, that's true. That's what it is. The book is basically a metaphor for deeper development and for fighting battles, because there's basically the Bhagavad Gita as a book. There was Krishna was a prince and had a land where there was no war, where there was a lot of balance and harmony. And so Arjuna there was different families, two big families, and there was one big family that was basically fighting Arjuna's family. And so Arjuna went to Krishna and said to Krishna, hey, my family, there's all this fighting going on. I need some help. And Krishna said, okay, I'll help you. And I can either help you by giving you my army, where you have my army to control, or you can learn from me and everything that I know. And so Arjuna, the story is that Arjuna took Krishna up on learning everything that Krishna knows. And so that is the story of the Bhagavad Gita. And so the fighting and the battles are metaphors for different parts of our personality, or different parts of the world that might be causing us disharmony, or causing us to lose our balance. And so Krishna ends up teaching Arjuna everything that he knows in maintaining balance, and a whole host of other things, because it depends on the interpretation, on who interprets the Bhagavad Gita as well. As you know, there'll be lots of different interpretations, and Paramahansa Yogananda's guru's version is very intimate and very cosmic and very real in how different parts are organized. Yeah, it's really lovely. The Bhagavad Gita is a lovely book.
So shall I mention a dream that changed my life that I had? Was a prophetic dream.
Yeah.
So this was about 20 years ago. At the time, I think I was doing a lot of, I was with Guru Mai in the Siddha movement. And I'd had Shaktipat, which is, as you know, it's a process you go through where your kind of energy, your body's energy system gets activated. And then shortly after that, I had this dream that was so vivid it woke me up. And in my dream, this voice said to me, "Start a company and call it StarQuest Media." And then I woke up, and so I just took it seriously. I thought, well, I'm doing all this spiritual work because I like to be very practical about spiritual work. Just don't get too overawed with it. It's like, well, if you're doing all this spiritual work and you have a dream and it tells you to start a company, then maybe you should do it. So I did it. And then I didn't know what to do with that company for ages and ages and ages and ages, like 20 odd years. And now StarQuest Media is helping to bring Courses for Spirit to people on online.
Yeah.
It's
And
it's
so
amazing
did
that, eh?
the dream, did it arrive, was it, yeah.
It
Did
was
the
literally.
dream arrive out of the, yeah. How,
I just took it.
how did it arrive?
It was a voice that spoke really loudly in my dream. So it was the voice was so loud it woke me up. And then I wrote
Okay.
it down. And I remembered it. Sometimes you forget your dreams. It was so loud and so insistent that I remembered it.
Yeah.
Isn't it amazing? Maybe you got that message like 20 years ago, as if like it knew, some higher consciousness knew that 20 years later, maybe something like that, or depending on how you did things in your life, maybe it could have been 10 years in the future. But like it wasn't like yesterday you got the dream. It's 20 years ago, seed planted, then it like grows into a tree, and now it's like ready to be a stepping stone. It just, I don't know. I don't know. Like it makes me think of like where that message came from. Is it like a place that time doesn't exist? Did it know 20 human years in the future it would the next part of it would come about? Like I don't know. It's just that's just what it makes me think of.
Well, if you're talking about divinity, or you're talking about the universe, or you're talking about God, you're talking about spirit, then that's an intelligence that's beyond our capacity as human beings to understand, I think, because that's an intelligence that knows everything that's happened, everything that's going to happen, that has created everything, and that has created all life forms and is life
Yeah.
itself, intelligence, life itself. So I guess one of the things that I guess we're talking about here is, as you're accessing the super consciousness, then you're accessing more and more of who you really are, and you're accessing an intelligence that it it's kind of really quite surprising, because
Yeah.
it's
That's
beyond what we're used to. We're used to kind of thinking things through and rationalizing about things, and that's often how people get stuck in negative loops, or like even negative spirals going down. Just thinking, 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 thinking. But
hmm
through meditation and movement and dance and music and rituals and coming together with other people, all the stuff that spirituality's always been about anyway, then it becomes more normal for you to have these wonderful experiences that can sometimes wonderful and confusing and disorientating at the same time, but supportive and loving. It's also.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, yeah, for sure. Yeah. That's what I was thinking too. Like we can't understand what God is or the universe or all the stuff, but when we like catch a glimpse of it, like, oh, 20 years ago you had this dream that seems to connect to this present day thing, and they both have this feeling, like you feel like they connect. Like I don't know, that's just something 20 years ago connecting to now. It gives you like an insight to trying to understand everything we can. It's just cool. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and that seems like 20 years seems like a long time in the context of a human life, but actually, I mean, 20 years is the beat of a fly's wing. It's not even that.
Yeah. 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 It's like how long do our cells in our body live, right? Like they're doing a job that contributes to a job that's like they're doing a job for their whole life that contributes to a plan that's greatly outlives every individual cell. Similar kind of stuff outgoing.
Yeah.
Yeah, and time is relative as well, and especially when
Yeah,
it comes to, yeah, when it comes to spirit spirit type things, because it's like, just like four, if you think of like something in four dimensions, there's a way that you actually are, if you're looking at a fourth dimensional object, you might see it, but usually you're looking at it from the outside. And so if you zoom in to the third dimension, it might look like a cube. And then if you zoom out, it looks like a tesseract. And so the strange thing about uh, the superconsciousness is that time doesn't work the same way on that level. Just like, you know, the solar system and our sun has you know, a, a relative amount of time. But if you think about how old we are in the spiritual sense, then we're we're super old, and many people, their souls are older than the sun. So maybe that's a bit far out, but you know, most people, they don't realize that they are part of the infinite consciousness.
Right.
So if their consciousness goes from infinite to finite, then when we're looking at the sort of things that are around us, then they seem to have a finite quality to them. Just like 20 years to um, to a star would be like snap of the fingers.
Mm. Goodness me.
It's
that's
very short.
fascinating.
Do you know, guys, because we're keeping to a format of around about 45 minutes, aren't we? I mean, we've yet again, scratched a tiniest little bit of the tiniest surface of something about dreams. I know you've got, you're working on a book, aren't you, Jeremy, about dreams?
I am. I'm working on a book about lucid dreaming. So to help people that want to do lucid dreaming, that want to be conscious in their dreams, to be conscious in their
So
dreams.
lucid dreaming and conscious dreaming, pretty much, is that the same thing, or is there differences
Same thing.
between those?
Same thing, because
Okay.
lucid dreaming is a fairly modern term. It was a
Mm.
term that was coined, uh, you know, in this in our generation.
So
But
conscious.
conscious dreams have been uh, gone. They've gone back forever. You know, ancient Egypt, um, Mesopotamia, all these ancient cultures also have dream works where they were consciously working with dreams. And actually, there's a story about uh, Joseph, you know, Jesus's father, and he was at one point, um, let's say, pretty much imprisoned by a pharaoh, and the pharaoh ended up having these like repeat dreams that were really, they were, they would wake him up out of his sleep. And so this pharaoh wanted to know what the dreams meant, and went to his oracle, went to his the people that know, and but they didn't know. So whatever, all the explanations of his dreams didn't didn't work. And so he heard of this guy who was in prison, who was known to be quite spiritual, and it was Joseph. So it was Jesus's dad. And so the Pharaoh went to Joseph and told him about his dream. He said that I dreamt dream that there's like abundance in the land, and there's like, everything's golden, and for 7 years, and then there was famine and war, and basically this dream's really disturbing me. What does it mean? And Joseph said it's because actually there's going to be a lot of abundance in the land, and then there's going to be less abundance. And so the Pharaoh took him up on it. He agreed to, basically, when it was when the land was really fertile and there was really great weather, really great crops, the Pharaoh decided to hoard, not to hoard, but to take extra provisions and keep them in storage. And so then after 7 years, everything got bad. The weather meant the crops failed. They didn't have good harvests, and because of that, the because the Pharaoh took Joseph's words into heart, into advice, then they ended up having food reserves. And so in that case, the Pharaoh gave Joseph a job, and gave him the job to distribute out food to people, because people that were under the Pharaoh, when they're hungry, they go to the king, and they say, "Hey, we're starving. We need food." And then the king would distribute the food out. And so for a time, Joseph got that job to distribute the food.
Yeah, so from a, did, did- I don't.
I didn't know any of that.
Was that hold on, wasn't that a different Joseph though? Is that Jesus's father, Joseph Arimathea? That's a different Joseph, I think. And I think
I think that was the. I think that was the. I think that was Jesus' father.
was it? Oh my God, my biblical knowledge is shocking, shocking. Um, we sorry, Mason. What did you want to say?
I just said I didn't know any of that. I did not know any of that stuff Jeremy was talking about. I didn't know Jesus' father Joseph had that role.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we're not 100%. I'm wondering if it is the the Jesus' dad Joseph, or there was a different Joseph in that story. But we'll see. I mean, we will find. I'm sure people will let us know. So um, we're so near the. I think it's time for us to come off. We're still streaming at the moment, and I know some guests have come in. So thank you for coming in. And I mean, actually, you're not visible on the screen. So I think for everybody who's joined us on YouTube live, I wonder, Mason, how would you feel about just kind of bringing us, closing everything down, bringing us into one of your guided meditations? Maybe
Yep.
something, I don't know. Well, whatever comes, I guess because we're on the theme of dreams today. Maybe something that helps people to connect to the power of their dreams. I don't know.
Yeah, okay. That's good. We'll just try to play off that, and we'll just try to use that. So it's we're not in the moment of waking in the morning and having that delta DMT conscious state, and we're not just going to bed. So when we were talking about earlier how it's like the morning, what you play in the morning will show up to replay in your dreams. Uh, we're kind of the farthest away from that point. We're like in the middle of the day. I mean, I think for me, I'm in the middle of the day. I don't know where anybody else is, but um, I want to try to if you sit and we'll try to connect to a feeling, and we'll just try to get in touch with that feeling and see if that feeling is anywhere present elsewhere in your life when you're thinking about anything that has to do with dreams, or when you're waking from dreams, or when you're recording from dreams, or kind of like that feeling, Mike, that you had, when you had this dream 20 years ago, and now you're feeling like it's here now, or like it's serving its purpose, how it's connecting to what's going on now. So I think just with the intention to get in touch with or create a feeling that you may have, or you may begin to create, like in the future, as you decide to explore your dreams in any other further capacity. So to begin, I just want to invite you to get comfortable. So please get comfortable. And from here, similar to how we've done before, if you just begin to notice what's going on with yourself, just notice your thoughts, notice your breath, notice how you feel. And if you just give yourself permission to come to the present moment, and if you use your breath to slide into the present moment, and from the present moment, we're just allowing thoughts and external factors and whatever else is going to happen today to just sit in the background for a few moments. And when we come to the present moment, we come to create, and we come to set an intention and get in touch with present moment creativity from here. And as you're just quickly noticing how your breath is maybe calming you, or how your breath can tether you to this present moment, try to consider that we want to get in touch with or create this feeling of stillness. We want to get in touch with or create this personal feeling of listening. We want to listen to that which we can listen to right now. Listening with your intuition, listening with your heart, listening with your mind, listening with your being. The type of listening you would want to do if you were listening to your dreams, if you were listening to your thoughts about your dreams. If you're recording your dreams, you're writing them down with a pen consciously, but you're still listening to where those conscious ideas are coming from as you write them, as you think this. And try to see if that listening has a feeling to it. Try to see if you can listen and feel in your body at the same time. Try to think of your body as a radio receiver that's listening to the frequencies of the universe, to your environment. And if there's something meant for you, be it a feeling or a dream or an intuitional hit, be open to that. As you're noticing how you feel, try to notice if there's any adjustments in how you feel. Are there any pings on your radar that are coming in? And be patient while you listen. And if you hear nothing, gently return for a moment to that feeling of listening that you've created. That feeling of listening, of being the open door, being comfortable, being patient as the open door for anything to come to you. And if something arises, investigate it calmly, gently. Is it a thought? Is it your brain? Is it your mind trying to come back into this moment? Your ego trying to take over? Or does it feel like something else? Is it something trying to talk to you? Is it something trying to get in touch with you? Do you feel it in your body? Do you feel it in your belly more than your mind? Maybe that's something you want to explore now more. Maybe that's something you want to take note of and think about later. But for this particular moment, in this particular practice, before we go, I just want to invite you to get in touch with that listening to what's coming in and also listening to the ambient frequencies, the empty airwaves, if you will. And as you practice this, you may get better at listening. The practice you put in may make the difference between the messages you hear and don't hear. And so next time you're trying to understand your dreams or you're trying to make sense of what's happening in your dreams, try to use this feeling. Try to get in touch with this feeling while you're trying to understand your dreams and see if this helps. Rather than waiting for the right person to say the right thing to you, perhaps you could listen and hear it from the universe yourself. Practice this, and we'll see you again. And invite you to come back to the space.
Thanks,
So,
Nathan.
yeah, you're welcome. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Boy, that was wonderful. Okay. So, if anybody does want to join us, we're going to go off live streaming now, and you can come and join us on the Zoom by going to CoursesforSpirit.ca. That's courses for FOR spirit.ca, and go to workshops and click on the Zoom link, and it'll bring you straight in. We're going to continue the conversation. But we won't be recording that. That's going to be completely private. So, anybody who's ready to have a bit of a chat, we'll welcome you there on the Zoom. So it's goodbye. I'll say goodbye and much love to everybody.
Bye, everybody.
Ciao. Bye for now. Sorry, we just dropped out of that meditation.
That was wonderful. Yeah, thank you. And we'll be back next Sunday at 6 p.m. GMT. And I guess you have to work that out wherever you are in the world. Okay. So I'm just going to stop the live stream.